This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
From the Simply Superior Springer Mountain Farm studio in the Acuff House, Mr. Roy Acuff's living room is where we greet you this morning. All over the world on television now, circlecountry.com. You can go there and link to your favorite streaming platform, and terrestrially at 650 AM WSM, or you can stream us at WSMradio.com. Sitting here on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. Sun keeps coming and going, breaking through the early morning cloudiness, and some of it had rain overnight here in Nashville. But from the Assembly Food Hall stage, excited to meet Spencer Hatcher in just a little bit. Introduce you to him and feature his new single, On the Insides, on Stone Country Records. He's a farm kid out of Virginia, Shenandoah Valley, Charlie.
Beautiful. Virginia may be our prettiest state.
You think so?
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Mm-hmm.
And then a little later on, we'll have Webb Wilder, our longtime friend. And
last of the full-grown men.
He'll be here with his
Do you remember the credo? It's on a poster and T-shirts, but I can't.
Is it? I just know the hook, because I always remember the hook is wear glasses if you need them.
Right, yeah.
We'll have to have him do it when he gets here so that it's official. But he's got this thing. Did you see the cartoon artwork that came with the new single called?
It's really good.
Hillbilly Speedball is the name of it. It's officially out on a week from tomorrow, Friday the 2nd, but we'll tell you about that and visit with Webb. Again, Spencer Hatcher, Webb Wilder from the Assembly Food Hall stage. I'll have entertainment. Kelly Sutton's at Stagecoach. Annie Nye's at the Music Festival in Napa. And then there were three. Charlie Matos, Jeff Roberts in Master Control, rock solid. Roberts not sleeping a lot for that baby Molly Kate in the house. But he said he will get around to it.
There we go, yeah. Now listen, a lot of time to sleep.
If there are periods of time during the show where there's awkward silence, you'll know why. He fought it as long as he could. Ashley McBride, first thing I reach for from the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. We're going to rewind to that here in just a little bit. And this is a game changer for George Bird. Yes. Out of Austin, Texas. Texas Longhorn golfer at one point.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
And we welcome to the Assembly Food Hall stage in Coffee, Country, and Cody for the very first time on our show. Spencer Hatcher, welcome, buddy. It's good to see you.
It's an honor to be here.
I ran into you just minutes ago for the first time, and you were standing in a spot where a very famous picture, and I don't know where this picture has gone, and some of our decorating and redecorating here at the Acuff House, but we're in Mr. Acuff's living room, and there's a picture of him sitting in a chair on a sunny afternoon with his back to the rail, right where you were standing. When I walked out there, I thought, that's a historic spot. Did you feel anything?
Oh, I did. I could feel his presence. Yeah, this is such an honor for me. You know, all my heroes, everything, all over these lands, just down here in Nashville. You know, I'm coming from Virginia, so to be here, I mean, just what a blessing.
You're an old soul, aren't you? I mean,
yes, sir.
Your knowledge of country music and what you like goes back far beyond your generation.
Way back, yes, sir.
Who would be some of the early ones that come to mind when you think about the golden age of the Opry and country music?
Gosh, well, I mean, I even know about like Jimmy Rogers, Hank Sr. I mean, we're going back to like the 20s here, but
Uncle Dave Macon, the first superstar of the Opry.
Yes, sir.
Read this great article that Charles Wolfe, the late Charles Wolfe professor at MTSU, who wrote a book once called A Good-Natured Bryant. It was a history of the Grand Ole Opry. Wow. And he said, well, if Jimmy Rogers is the father of country music, then Uncle Dave Macon was the grandfather of country music.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And how did that interest come? Naturally, or through your parents or grandparents?
Well, I grew up in a small town on a farm in Virginia, so naturally I was around a tremendous amount of bluegrass. That was what I really started off in, was just bluegrass music for years. I started playing bluegrass when I was 8 years old, but I was listening to it as long as I can remember, just like the old country. It was either bluegrass or it was some old country music. I didn't even know what new country music was until I was really forced to start learning it to perform. When I started getting called to go perform, everything I knew was, I mean, quite literally, it was like 1980s and back is what it was. But I mean, George Jones and Keith Whitley, Hank Jr., you know, going all the way back to Hank Sr., all those guys is, I mean, every single one's my hero.
So you were like, who is this Garth person you're asking me to sing songs about?
Garth.
Right? I'm going to have to learn these songs.
Right. Yeah. But I did. I mean, you got to learn those kind of songs too. And I love, I mean, Garth Brooks, phenomenal, absolute natural talent. amazing. But yeah, I grew up on the old stuff, and that's what I really hold close to my heart.
Well, the nice part is we like to use the term full circle around here because of the Opry connection, obviously. But stuff tends to come back around, and you've got we've got guys like Zach Top and Cody Johnson, and that really great traditional sound is still so alive as well.
Well, it is, and it really makes me excited. It really makes me happy to see people appreciate that style of country music again. I think that for it to be kind of coming back in style, man, that's great news.
Well, as a Larry Mahan wannabe all my life, thanks for wearing pearl snaps to the show.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. That's right.
It's been a while since somebody wore pearl snaps and sat over there.
Yeah, this is what I wear right here. Yeah.
Starched Wranglers and pearl snaps, baby.
That's right.
That's where it's at. So tell me about small town life in Virginia. What town? And I know it was in the Shenandoah Valley.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Broadway, Virginia. I went to school there, and
how far would that be from Stanton, the home of the Statler brothers?
Oh, it's not very far, 45 minutes.
Oh, really?
And I know their grandsons and their sons. Of course, their sons started Wilson Fairchild.
Right, sure.
And I've got to meet some of the Statlers, and I know Jimmy Fortune, and so that was a big thing, where I was from. I mean, Statlers are all over that area.
Well, they're in the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Yes, sir.
They were internationally well known.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so growing up in the small town, though, I mean, I think it was just kind of like everybody that grows up in a small town, you make your own fun, you have a good time, and everybody knows everybody.
What was the local hang in Broadway, Virginia?
Gosh, local hang?
After a ball game.
Well, I'm intrigued by the Gobbler Grill.
The Gobbler Grill.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, that's
or Beards and Broads. Actually, that might be more interesting.
I've played a lot of shows at Beards and Broads. That was one of the places I would play all the time on Sundays. And Gobbler Grill, yeah, I mean that's becoming a really, really popular place there, and it's just one of those things. All the businesses, I mean, everybody knows you don't have a tremendous amount of them to pick from. The restaurants, you got like a handful.
Yeah.
And
the same person cut your hair your whole life, probably.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yes, sir. Yeah. But I'm so thankful to have grown up in a small town and to have those, kind of those ideals moving forward in life. Just, coming from the small town and the country lifestyle is something I'd never give up.
So, what kind of farming did you guys do?
We had a cattle farm. We had Black Angus cows, and of course, we would just cut and bale hay, and just, we had some other animals. We had some goats and whatnot, but
you were smart enough not to become a dairy farmer.
Right. We never did get into dairy farming, but there's a lot
of. You never ever get a day off, twice a day, every day for the rest of your life.
No, absolutely not. I think anymore that's kind of how it is for most all farmers. Those are the real hardworking men and women in the world. The farmers are what make this thing go around.
Oh, listen, I remember saw something popped up the other day on MeTV with Tennessee Ernie Ford, and there was this memory, and he had a song called, and you probably will know it with your knowledge of the old stuff, it's called Milk 'em in the Morning, Milk 'em in the Evening Blues. And I thought, yeah, if you're a dairy farmer, that's your anthem.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, we go back to Broadway, Virginia. Did they go, man, I just knew your whole life that one day you were going to grow up and do big things and wind up in Nashville?
Well, I'll say it like this: I've had the most supportive hometown that I ever could have asked for. I mean, I had so much support, and it's not always that way. You hear some stories about having no support, but I can't say that. My hometown, they really did believe in me. Of course, not everybody. There's still those some, but the majority, big time. We're so supportive, and they loved the music, and they encouraged me the whole time. And that's one giant reason why you can keep going, is when you got people that love you and care about you like that. And so, yeah, my hometown has just been the absolute greatest in the world.
So whether you're watching or listening in Broadway, Virginia, or wherever you are around the world, his name is Spencer Hatcher. He's our guest on Coffee, Country, and Cody from the Assembly Food Hall stage this morning, and a new single. Give me the backstory on the inside.
On the inside, man, I'm excited for this song. It comes out on Friday.
That'll be tomorrow.
That's
Please
right.
Make a note of it.
That's right. It's
Available
coming out
at
tomorrow.
Midnight tonight.
It's a big day for sure. But yeah, on the inside, it's just about a man that he might be lonely, but he's not going to show it on the outside. You'd never know it from the outside. You're only lonely on the inside. That's what it's all about.
You heard it here from Spencer Hatcher. Coffee, country, and Cody all over the world.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And this is Spencer Hatcher making his debut on the show from the Assembly Food Hall stage this morning. Stone Country, that's the name of the record label that you're working for.
Yes, sir.
And just as you were getting some traction, you fell off the house. What?
Yes, sir, I did. I fell off my roof back home. Yeah.
And it was a very serious matter.
It was very serious. Yeah, I was up pretty high too. I was on the first roof of my house.
Were you roofing or patching?
I was heading up to the chimney to actually do some work on the chimney, and wound up that ladder shooting off the first roof that I was on. It was a metal roof, and that ladder just didn't stay in place. It shot right off, and I fell over 20 feet.
Ooh. And you were airlifted?
Yes, sir, immediately.
Did you lose consciousness?
No, I did not.
Did you wish you had lost consciousness?
Yeah, I do. I got to feel every bit of that fall, but in a way, I can be thankful for it too, because it changed how I look at everything. I've always been grateful, but now you really get grateful after something like that.
Yeah, you learn not to take stuff for granted, right?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
I'm just curious though, because we talked a lot about you playing sports off the air, basketball, baseball, football, all in your past, and a lot of pro contracts have a list of things that they don't want you, that you're not allowed to do. Uh-huh. I'm curious, do record labels have a list of, do they suggest you don't do roofing anymore?
Yes, they did. They got me on the phone once I got out of the hospital. They said, "Hey, Spencer, we won't be on the roof anymore, will we?" I said, no, we will not.
And no more bull riding.
No more. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We got to tone it back a little now.
So they called you, there was a daily news record that's a hometown newspaper, Harrisonburg, Virginia, called you the String King?
Yes, sir, they did.
Did they just come up with that
after
seeing you perform?
Yeah, they did. I guess I play the banjo as well. And
that's where you started, wasn't it? In the bluegrass world?
It was, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Well, I started on the mandolin, and then I moved to the banjo, and then to the guitar, and then I picked up the electric guitar. So I play a lot of stringed instruments, I guess. And at every single show, I bring 3 or 4 of them to play at every single one of my shows back in the hometown. And and so they just kind of, that article came out and they said I was String King, and I don't know, they gave it to me. And
hey, put that at the merch table. Baby.
Yeah, that's right, String King. Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Well, there is something about growing up in that bluegrass environment, though. Not to denigrate any of the forecast, but boy, you got to be a picker to play bluegrass. I mean, those guys are serious musicians.
Yeah, you can't really fake it in bluegrass.
No,
you've got to.
Yeah, they find out really fast.
Oh, they do. They
There's
do.
a great Opry story about a fellow filling in with the Bluegrass Boys one night with Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys at the Opry. And they had done one song. I guess he was intimidated, nervous. And he said, Monroe turned around to him and said, "Boy, you better mash down on that thing or we're going to run off and leave you."
Oh, my God. It sounds about right.
Talk about pressure. Well, I'd love for you to play and sing this morning. And what kind of guitar you got?
I've got a Blue Ridge guitar.
Okay. And where do they come from?
Well, I believe that they're based out of China still, I believe, is the manufacturing. But this was a guitar that this was actually my very first guitar that I ever had. I've played a lot of them.
Oh, no kidding.
But then I didn't pick up the guitar until I was a senior in high school, actually. And
so let's go back to your sports in high school.
Yes, sir.
Who would you have played for in the NFL if you had been good enough? Who would be your go-to team?
Or was basketball more the sport?
No, it was...
Or baseball.
It was baseball. I always really liked baseball.
So who would you have played for in the majors?
I probably would have pulled for the Yankees, honestly.
Okay.
Probably, but
I
think
they pay well.
Oh, they do. I think if you make it to the majors, you really don't care what team you get on. You're probably just happy to have made it.
Well, listen, in the music business in Nashville, you've made it to the majors.
Yeah, I guess so. I reckon so. I've been blessed, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what you doing for us this morning live?
Well, I'd like to do. It's the title track off my very first debut 3-song EP. It's one called Cold Beer and Common Sense, and it's a song that's got a powerful message. I think that a lot of people could really ought to listen to it and could learn a thing or two from it. But it's about a song where it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. Everybody should just be able to get along.
You said powerful message, and I smiled because it's a word that Bill Monroe used a lot he would say, "That's powerful.
That's powerful, son." So, that's right. I believe it.
So lay it on him. Spencer Hatcher from the Assembly Food Hall stage, all over the world, WSM Radio, Circle Country TV. Spencer Hatcher live on the Assembly Food Hall stage in the Simply Superior Springer Mountain Farm studio on a Grand Ole Opry Plaza. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Man.
I was looking at some of the list of folks that you have been on the stage with, like Gene Watson and Tracy Byrd and Wade Hayes and Rhonda Vincent. What do you get from when your set is done and they're on, and you watch them? What can you take away from a guy like Gene Watson who's been doing it for 60 years in this music business?
Every single time that I get to open for somebody like that, man, to me it's just the biggest honor in the world, because they're where I want to be. All these people, I look up to them so much. Gene Watson, what a career he's had. Mm-hmm. And I actually got to talk to him backstage at the Opry one evening. He was playing. I wanted to go see him again. Mm-hmm. And he started talking to me about just some of his history, going back to the early 70s, talking about things and having, I believe he said it was the very first number one in the 80s. He was the very first one, I believe, is what he told me. And it's just, I don't know, it's so surreal for me because it's something I've worked so hard for, and to finally be in the presence of these other guys, it's just, man, it's amazing.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, and I might be, but I think I'm right on this. So you know what it's like to put in a day's work. So does Gene Watson. I think Gene kept all his tools 4 or 5 hits into his career. Like he did not give up the other gig until he was certain that this was going to be the gig that works, right?
His body shop.
His paint absolutely.
Body shop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
and I bet he can still get it done.
Yeah. Now, Gene's not doing roofing, though.
Oh, no. And Gene's done just fine.
Yeah.
But
I think it's worked out okay.
Yeah.
Cold Beer and Common Sense, The Way She Lies on the Inside, all available on your EP, wherever people get their music. It'll be there. Spencer Hatcher is the name you're looking for. And how did you wind up from Broadway, Virginia, going to East Tennessee State to school?
Well, it was, I knew that I kind of wanted to have the full experience, and so I took the, I kind of wanted to move away, become really independent and do things on my own and figure it out, and I didn't know a single person in East Tennessee, but the thing that was really attractive to me is it's the only school in the world that offers a degree in bluegrass and country music, which is, it was crazy. And so I started looking into it, and I said, man, this is awesome. Now, my thinking was you don't need a degree in bluegrass or country music to make it. So I said, I'm just going to minor in it. So I majored in business, concentration and management, and I minored in the bluegrass and country music program.
So majoring in business administration, have you already seen this early in your career how that has paid off in making business decisions?
I've used it a tremendous amount. Yeah. That was one of the smartest things I could have done, and I knew that I was going to gain a lot of knowledge from it, and that was before I ever knew that I was going to pursue music full time. Just full throttle every single day. But I'm very thankful that I studied business for sure.
Well, I'm thankful you came to see us on Coffee, Country, and Cody this morning, buddy.
I appreciate you all having me.
It's been great. That's Spencer Hatcher, and this is Coffee, Country, and Cody from the Simply Superior Springer Mountain Farm studio on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. Missed this from Trace, Grand Ole Opry star. Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Kelly Sutton's vacationing. She's in Indio, California at Stagecoach, and I'm doing entertainment this week, but the Luke Combs, Bailey Zimmerman story I had yesterday. It's an up-tempo thing, and it's on the way from both Luke and Bailey as duet partners. They teased this collaboration on their social media over the last couple of days, and we got a short video of that for back now of that post where they're lip-syncing to the actual recording. Luke and Bailey, they do know a thing or two about hit collaborations. Bailey's currently in the pop world. It's got a top 5 record with the rapper Big X the Plug, and then Post Malone, of course, joined Luke on Guy for that. And for now, Luke and Bailey have only said that backup plan is coming soon, and trust me, you will know when it is available as a fan. They will let you know. With no stone unturned in marketing that when it's available. Well, the Marshall Tucker Band's lead singer and our longtime dear, sweet friend, he's a good man, Doug Gray. Doug has announced he's having some health issues and he's taking a break from the road. The quote was, taking care of business as I always do, or business, as he would say. Thanks, and I hope to see you soon, end quote. His absence, the band rolls on. in his absence with the All Our Friends tour. And that's set to commence actually May 9th as a kickoff of the tour, West Wendover, Nevada. He says that he'll stay involved in all aspects of the tour and the business, but expects at some point to rejoin the band sooner rather than later. They will be here in Nashville if he's well enough. I know he'd love to be in town and on stage at the Pinnacle. That's Sunday, May 18th for the Marshall Tucker Band's Nashville stop. And hello, ladies. If you enjoyed Riley Green's steamy Worst Way video, then you'll be happy to know that it's just a matter of time before, apparently, he wants to get back in front of the camera.
We've actually kind of gone down that road a little bit. I've read for a couple of shows here lately. Not that I have a lot of time for it, but I think it is something that I would enjoy and also something I think could help my music career. I mean, obviously, doing Yellowstone was a great launching pad for Laney as well. And the country and western thing is becoming so popular through those shows that it's really just such a great tie-in. I'm just glad that it's helping out country music.
You can, while he takes some time to relax, you can probably find him in a turkey blind someplace. I was going to talk about deer, but spring turkey hunting, because that's what he's up to right now.
Well, he's got his own bar, too. He could go,
he does.
Do like
blind.
Garth, do a little bartending.
When we're not hunting turkeys, we're hunting ducks. Yeah. Let's see, his next up, the Texas show is the ACM Awards. Mm-hmm. That's next week. And he'll be performing at the Opry Next Stage show, Riley Green. Dierks Bentley, Grand Ole Opry star, excited that fans are going to get to hear his new album. The full album soon. Is a fan of Broken Branches. He is too.
My new album, Broken Branches, is all about those broken branches that fall off the family tree. All the misfits that live here in Music City. And that was kind of the theme going throughout the whole album. A lot of songs that kind of tie back into that, and kind of just small town life and religion and just all the little pieces and parts that make somebody one of those broken branches.
Broken Branches, the tour, late May. Austin is when it kicks off. Zach Top and the band Lula will be out on the road with Dierks.
Let's see, small town life, misfits, religion. This sounds like an argument at holiday time at the Maddow's household growing up in Rhode Island. Not too much different than the Dierks Bentley household, apparently.
Well, happy birthday to the Grand Ole Opry's Carly Pierce. She is 35 today. The Opry and Country Music Hall of Fame outfit we know as the Oak Ridge Boys. The bass man, Richard Sturban, with an 82nd birthday. Barbara Streisand is 83 years old today. And Jackson Mados, only child raising an only child. Jackson Mados is 12 today.
We're sparing no expense, going to Sonic and then go-kart racing. Or Jackson, not me.
Please crank up the Grand Ole Opry and Opry Country Classics, if you would, please. Larry, Steve, and Rudy Gatlin will be there, and they'll be with this guy. His name is Mark Wills, and we're going to put the spotlight on him because that's where he is tonight at Opry Country Classic.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Hey, the Assembly Food Hall stage has Webb Wilder on it this morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody, and a friend who's been coming to see us as long and as often as anybody, I guess. Huh?
I'm so grateful that you will have me. Yes, sir.
And I'm so grateful that you're still at it and giving us new music, which is your reason for visiting.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, it's been 5 years. And we had the, inimitable timing of putting the last one out at the peak of the pandemic. So all the gigs were canceled. I'm streaming from the basement, And so we hope this one gets a little more exposure, but we encourage you to go back and get that last one too, of course.
So 13 albums total, did I see?
I guess so, yeah.
So when was the first one? What year?
Well, 86 or 7, because we put it out real briefly on a limited pressing on our own label in 86. It came from Nashville. And then, bless his heart, Michael Rothschild, who's still putting out Webb Wilder records on Landslide, put it out in 87, yeah.
How long had you been in town before you actually got
I got here in the summer of 82. And, I didn't play and I had been playing kind of a big fish in a little pond in South Mississippi a lot prior to that, but I didn't really perform again until March of 85. It was humbling. It was humbling because, I thought I'll start a band. And at that time, especially, it's a writer town and a sideman town and a session man town.
And it wasn't a live performance town in those days either.
And not really a rock and roll town at that time either. It's everything now, of course, but yeah. Jack Emerson and Andy McLennan were the happening other side of the street, for rock and roll. And we wound up eventually getting managed by them and their company, Praxis International. But yeah, it was interesting back then,
The Exit Inn would have been a home field court.
Oh yeah, we played there a lot, and we even it was a moment kind of, but there was a few gigs in a row there where we were drawing so well there we'd have to book our own security.
Oh, wow.
That came and went that period of time, but
Bill and I have never achieved that level of anything.
but about over half of my, especially now that we've released the expanded version, over half of the first album was recorded live at the Exit Inn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you're in the Mississippi. You mentioned growing up in South Mississippi. Hattiesburg is home.
Yeah.
The Mississippi Musicians Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Who went in with you? Who was in your class, and who are some of the others that are in there?
Well, what's wild about it is they have some legendary people in there, of course, because so many people came from Mississippi. They have the license tags that say "Birthplace of America Music" or "America's Music." I say, well, why hog it all, you know? But just call it the home office, you know. But funny enough, the night I went in, and some of these icons, they just read them like off a grocery list. Elmore James, Delaney Bramlett.
Oh, wow. Bonnie and Delaney. Yeah.
And Becca Bramlett was there, and she had to ask to speak. The ceremony wasn't quite as wonderful as the honor itself.
I got you.
But I'm very honored to be among those icons, you know.
How did they give you the news? Did they surprise you, or just got a phone call? Or
I think it was an email. Yeah, it was an email. And I was over the moon about it, you know, because, I mean, Muddy Waters, Elvis Presley, come on.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like everybody but Hank Williams, almost.
Like Hillbilly Heaven with Tex Ritter. Webb Wilder, that's when I woke up.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't know till I was already playing music that my aunt and uncle, my uncle had always been in the furniture business, but my aunt particularly had a record label called Trumpet Records that folded because the distributors wouldn't pay them about the time I was born, and I've done a song on this album from that label, a cover of a song called V8 Ford Blues too. You know.
So take me back to riding your bicycle around Hattiesburg and going to the record store.
I had a customized Schwinn Tiger, Bill, and you know, it was gold. It was USM colors, gold and with a black seat. No, you could ride your bike to the shopping center that had the Jitney Jungle grocery store and the Ben Franklin Dime store. You could ride your bicycle to the Broadway Mart shopping center where the snow cone stand was, to several different places that sold records. And then there was a Gibson's discount center. And you could go downtown, but you didn't have to, you know, to Powell's Music. So I was telling you earlier, I went to the Gibson's Discount Center and almost bought the Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds album, but instead wound up with the Everly Brothers Sing Great Country Hits.
You mentioned Ben Franklin. When I was a kid, and we'd go back to Alabama to visit grandparents, my mother always had to go to Ardmore to the Ben Franklin store.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the coolest thing about that as a child was we were on the Alabama side, and we looked across the street, there was Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
That was big. That was big for a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember buying, get this, my best friend at the time, Paul McDaniel, said he had heard it and, yeah, go ahead and buy it. I took his word for it. I bought Love Potion No. 9 by the Searchers. Oh. Now, that song, they were from Liverpool, right? But I mean, it's a cover. It came from the Coasters or somebody, you know, or maybe even New Orleans, which was right down the road. But yeah, I bought that at Ben Franklin.
So you got brand new music. I mentioned the 13th album, Webb Wilder. If you just joined us on the Assembly Food Hall stage this morning, Hillbilly Speedball. And we're going to play that title track here in just a little bit. Give us the backstory of, I know it's been 5 years. We talked about that, but all the things that you put together for this.
Well,
and, and the artwork, Charlie.
I was bragging on the artwork. The last few records, they just draw you in, and it's the same illustrator. Yeah.
Flournoy Holmes, who is wonderful and legendary. One of his biggest claims to fame in the larger world is having done the Allman Brothers Band's Eat a Peach album.
Oh, man.
He did my Doodad album, though, way back there, came out in 91. He did the 5 years ago album, Night Without Love, which he knocked it out of the ballpark with all sorts of gags on the, you know, in the text of the thing. And then this new one, he took a cue from the song itself that you're asking me about. You know, the pandemic happened in between, and of course we released that last album during the pandemic, and it was rough. A lot of people went through the same thing. So I go way back with one of the world's greatest guitarists. He's one of my dear friends, David Grissom, who's also a songwriter. I recorded a song of his years ago called Loud Music. We got to be friends years ago because he played with Joe Ely, and we did a lot of shows with Joe Ely. And he lives in Austin, and he's a brilliant musician and recordist. He has his own studio. So we're in touch a lot during the pandemic because what else you got to do? Talk to your friends on the phone. So about a year and a half or so ago, maybe a little more, he called me and he said, man, I'm going to send you this song. I want to get your opinion on it. So he just sent me a guitar vocal demo, and it just blew me away. And it was in the same key of a couple of my greater, quote, successes, unquote, A flat. And I said, what do you think about me doing this song? Oh, yeah, man, do it. So next thing you know, we're making a record. It was really the catalyst that kind of broke my paralysis, or whatever you want to call it, and got me started making this album.
Yeah, Hillbilly Speedball. That's the name of it. And that's the name of the album, too. So I guess that's how it wound up being the title track, right?
Yeah, he's from Kentucky. And he said when he was a teenager, he worked on his uncle's tobacco farm. And he said, luckily, I broke my leg. Because he said it was such hard work.
It is still the hardest work that there is to do on the planet, and it's done in the summertime.
But he said, you go up there now, you don't see so much tobacco. And so that is in the song, about people doing meth. So this is a double meaning. The guy is a hillbilly speedball drug-wise, but also because he's a speedball driver. He's speeding down the road. He's a Kentucky drug-crazed truck driver in the song.
Hillbilly Speedball, Webb Wilder, all over the world on WSM Radio, Circle Country Television. Thanks for watching and listening.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Right here, I got a copy. New CD from Webb Wilder, Hillbilly Speedball, and this Saturday, you've got an album release party. You're doing it at Riverside Revival.
Yeah, Saturday night, right? Showtime's 8 p.m., and we'll be playing a lot of these songs for the first or second time, and a lot of old ones too. And yeah, man, we're excited about it.
Tell me about Vince Gill on the song we're going to feature called Sorrow.
Vince, if you're listening, we love you so much. He is the world's most down-to-earth superstar.
I would agree.
Your local neighborhood superstar. He's so kind without just, I said, I was talking to him, and I'm lucky to even have that conversation. I said, we could kind of use some harmony on this one song. Send it on. So we sent it to him, and crossed our fingers that we would ever get a reply. And next thing you know, he's singing great harmony with me, and I just can't thank him enough. We're very grateful for his involvement. The song is an old song I heard as a kid, maybe by the McCoys, who had the giant hit with Hang On Sloopy.
Yeah.
Could have been the B-side, I don't know. Their version, with all respect to how great a musician Rick Derringer later became, is awful. Which must mean I just like songs. And apparently it was originally done by a British group called the Merseys, who must have had some success with it there, because when David Bowie did his all-cover album, Pinups, he did it.
How about that?
Sorrow, it's been done before, but this is probably, and we didn't really set out to make it country, but it does have pedal steel guitar on it, so maybe it is.
Yes, it absolutely is. Pedal steel guitar with Webb Wilder and Vince Gill helping out on Sorrow. Webb Wilder with Vince Gill singing Sorrow from the Assembly Food Hall stage. And Webb's brand new album is Hillbilly Speedball, and he'd love for you to join him Saturday. It's a live Riverside Revival here in Nashville for the new album release party. His 13th studio album will be available wherever you get your music. It'll be there. And then you hit the road, man. I was looking, you're going to be busy.
Yeah, June especially is going to be really busy.
Yeah, you're in Alexander City, Alabama, May 23rd, and then the 31st after Memorial Day. That'll be Memorial Day weekend. You're in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Yeah, we've been playing the Down Home since 1986.
Wow. And then another place in early June is a place called Hernando's Hideaway in Memphis, which I have heard about.
Yeah, it's legendary.
Yeah.
But I've never been there either. I
either.
think Jerry Lee used to hold court there a lot.
Oh, did he really?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
So those lineups and more, webbwilder.com.
There's just places that, as a kid, the name of the venue just captivated me. Like the Down Home. I've never been there, but I'd love to see a show there. I remember as a kid, the Meriwether Post Pavilion.
Oh, yeah.
Was one of those.
Wolf Trap.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I've never been to Southgate House up in Kentucky, and they say that's a great venue.
Yes, and, we were talking about Kentucky, and, we played Hillbilly Speedball that talks about all these nefarious things that can happen. Southgate House is just across the river from Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's the state line, and apparently it had a real underworld of all kind of gambling and prostitution and stuff back in the day.
And burned at one time, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Newport did? Southgate House.
Southgate House.
Well, they call it Southgate. It's in a repurposed church that's gorgeous with stained glass windows and stuff. They call it Southgate House Revival now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Are we back there? We were just there not long ago.
I'll have to look.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check your
we do love
schedule.
playing there. We do love-
Charlie apparently has booked you there, so we'll add that to your rundown. So tell me about a couple of names related to this album that stuck out in addition to Vince Gill, and that was Richard Bennett of the Wrecking Crew and Fats Kaplan.
Yes. Well, you heard Fats play the fiddle on a Hillbilly Speedball, for instance, and he's on another one. We did a Savoy Brown cover, all acoustic, almost bluegrass style, called Tell Mama. He's on that. But Richard is on a couple of songs, and I think you're about to play it. When I was telling you, when I was a kid, I rode my bicycle to the Gibson's Discount Center and bought the Everly Brothers Sing Great Country Hits. And, of course, the greatest voices ever singing these great songs, one of which was this song called This Is the Last Song I'm Ever Gonna Sing. And I always just liked that. And but then I get with Richard, who had great enthusiasm for it, who knows kind of everything. And he said, "Oh, have you heard the Joe Carson version?" Well, no, who's he? And it turns out he was a great country singer that died young. And so we started getting it further and further away from the Everly Brothers treatment. And then I start to realize it has a lot of roots cred because it was written by the great Sonny Curtis and Jerry Allison from the Crickets.
Oh, wow.
And Richard played this great flat wound string guitar bending stuff and 6-string bass, and we both played acoustic, and of course I produced the whole album with George Bradfute. Richard does all his albums with George, and it was just one of the most fun days ever. It was just great.
Well, that's where we'll close this morning. This will be the last song we play in this segment of Webb Wilder's visit from the Assembly Food Hall stage.
All good things must come to an end, I suppose.
The credo, please, before you leave.
The Webb Wilder credo as follows: work hard, rock hard, eat hard, sleep hard, grow big. Wear glasses if you need them.
Webb Wilder. Thanks, friend. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming to see us. Coffee, Country, and Cody, WSM Radio, Circle Country Television.